Social media is undoubtedly addictive. I had just turned 22 when I decided to delete my Facebook account and go without any accounts such as Instagram or Twitter for good. I struggled with social anxiety to the degree that I experienced physical symptoms like sweating and feeling of my heart racing if I even just had to call someone over the phone. I would much rather have gone hungry than take up my dad's offer to have free pizza if I ordered it on the phone. Nope, it was not gonna happen. And I also struggled with body image issues and self-loathing. My childhood and adolescent years led me to believe that I was worthy of love if I did X, Y, Z. And so I was very prideful. Because I believed that if I admitted to a flaw or a mistake, that it meant that I was a failure. And if I was a failure, then I was unworthy of love. I also allowed myself to be hurt by others in ways that I would never want anyone hurt. But looking back, I believed that I deserved it. Social media, it gave me emptiness. As I felt my own lonely heart grow hungry for love, I scrolled through hundreds of smiling faces with perfect families, perfect vacations, perfect fakeness. Social media reaffirmed my feelings of lack. The lowest period of my life is one that I never truly have shared with anyone other than my husband, who at the time had become my best friend. And even though I know that the people around me could very well see my depression, I had dropped down to 97 pounds at 5'7" because I had no desire to eat. My world had lost its color. I knew that people could tell that something was off, but still I felt the need to put on a smile for the perfect profile photo. When I decided to cut these chains that kept me from changing, the first step for me was redefining myself. This was phase 1 in what I call my metamorphosis. They're unfortunately in VHS form, so I don't have them to show you, but I have videos of myself as a 1.5-year-old child with my uncles playfully telling me that I was ugly and, in a shameful tone, as though I should be ashamed, telling me to pull my dress down and sit correctly. I was a very well-behaved child, actually. I obeyed, and as I grew older, I believed those sorts of things that I heard. I believed that I was ugly. I believed that I was shameful. I believed that I was not enough. Looking back at these videos when I was just a toddler, I realized that my entire life I had lived to please other people. Whether in romantic relationships, my teachers, or my miserable attempts to try to obtain my father's pride, my desire for perfection, or my frustration when I got an A-, it was never for me. But this time, this decision was different. It was for myself. And I actually did face criticism for it because at that time, all these sorts of social media applications were relatively new, so everyone had to have it. For my classmates, I was the weirdo. But oddly, despite the criticisms, it felt right because this time, I was not trying to please anyone else other than myself. And in this process, I had to learn more about myself. What hobbies did I even have besides social media? What did I want for my future, and what kind of a person do I want to be? I now had time to do things for myself, and this phase was both exciting but also scary at the same time. But after this phase, I faced a different obstacle. This next phase that I experienced was easily the most difficult, and I would say that it lasted for several weeks for me. And it was facing the dopamine spike addiction. Facing that dopamine spike addiction without reverting into other negative habits was very difficult. I realized that I had become so addicted to checking for notifications that even though I didn't have social media anymore, that now I was reaching for my phone just to check in case somebody had sent me a message. Maybe someone sent me an email. Maybe I missed a phone call. It was just kind of an instinct to check for my phone. And not only that, but it caught myself also wanting to share any and all information that was the least bit interesting. So because I didn't have a way to share it on social media, now I had that desire to share it with somebody. In a way, this was kind of a humbling experience for myself because I had not realized how addicted I had become to checking for those notifications. I would just instantly grab for my phone the moment I felt bored, and of course there was nothing to check. And unfortunately, or very fortunately, whatever way you want to look at it, I quickly realized that even though I had hundreds of friends on social media, I had less than a handful of friends that I could actually count on, that would actually send me a message or I could expect a phone call from. But strangely, this actually brought a sense of peace because at least now I knew who my real friends were. And this led me to the next stage, finding peace in solitude. By now, I had had some practice in changing negative habits. I had quit my Coca-Cola addiction, which was very severe, I would say. I had also gotten rid of my television when I was a teenager, and I knew that if I was going to change for the better, that I was going to have to change this negative habit and swap it out with positive ones. So with this extra time, I began to participate in plays, I took guitar lessons, and I became a lector at my church. I did as many activities as I could to force myself to overcome my social anxiety, and this was truly a transformational period for me. If you would like to know more about how I overcame social anxiety, I will link that video down in the description box below. And by the way, if you are enjoying this video so far and are getting any value from it, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I say that this time was transformational for me, but by this time, months had passed, and I realized that I now could walk very tranquilly through a park by myself, but not feel lonely. No need to check a phone, no need to take a selfie, no need to share it with anyone. I could be perfectly content with just soaking in that experience for myself, like just watching how slow the clouds appear to move on the sky or hearing the leaves rustling through the trees. This is when I started to live my life, and it allowed me to be more present and appreciate simple moments. And while this stage was full of hope and novelty, this next stage was truly the most freeing and fulfilling. Because quitting social media allowed me to shift my perspective on not only how I viewed relationships, but how I viewed humanity as a whole. From egocentrism to love and compassion. I had not realized that in caring for superficial relationships and putting on a mask of perfection, I had become superficial and selfish. This was a hard pill to swallow. I had to begin acknowledging my flaws, admitting mistakes, accepting my failures. But contrary to what I had feared in the past, it actually brought me a sense of self-compassion. And this fueled me to do the same for others. I forgave, and I allowed myself to love and love immensely. And I decided that I wanted to be the person that would give compassion and encouragement to others. I wanted to be with the people that were grieving and be the hand that they would hold. And this is what led me into ICU nursing and currently hospice nursing, where I help patients who are at the end stages of life not only manage their symptoms, but also take priority of their emotional and spiritual struggles as well. Clearly, I still do have social media, as many viewers like to point out. I have this YouTube channel, but I have a different vision for this channel. Perhaps we can have our own little slice of light and hope here, because most of what we see on social media only touches the surface. I left ICU nursing for hospice nursing because I was tired of scratching the surface, of treating bodies and treating numbers. I wanted to dig beneath that, talk about the things that truly hurt, and treat human beings, treat souls, so that way the healing could happen from within. I hope that by sharing my experience with you, it will be encouraging and motivating in some way, but I also want you to know that your experience will be as unique as you are. And feel free to share your experience in the comments, because I know it's also helpful for other people as well. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you won't miss when I post a new video. I thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to hear from you in the next one. Bye for now.